Up for public input. Is there anybody here to speak on any subjects tonight? Not, we'll close the public input and move to the consent agenda. Any items to be removed?
There's no questions or comments. I'll move to approve.
I'll second it.
Moved and second. Roll call vote.
Gray.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Ketterman.
Aye.
Munsell.
Aye.
Mernan.
Aye.
Special presentation, Smart Growth America. A representative from Smart Growth America will provide information regarding workshops being held in Pittsburgh.
Good evening, Commissioners. I am not a representative from Smart Growth. I just got off the phone with them, and they assured me they are walking over to the building right now. So I'll give you a brief overview of what we did today, and then when they come in, they can tell you a little bit more about Smart Growth America. So today we spent about 3 hours with them touring the downtown district. After downtown, we drove south and saw around the university, pointed out some of our latest additions, over to the medical complex, and then we went south to the casino. We went over through, I think people refer to it as Whitmore Pits, so that when we mentioned pits, they could have a visual of what that element is in our community. We went out to Girard, up through Franklin, touched on Arma, and then came back here. And now we have representatives here to tell you about why perhaps we took that tour.
Good cover.
I would like to introduce John Robert Smith, who came here as the lead in this technical training exercise, and I will just turn it over to you.
Thank you, Becky. Good evening, Mayor, members of the Commission, and to the citizens of Pittsburgh. Certainly want to thank you for the opportunity to spend a few moments with you here at your meeting, and also to work with you over the next coming 2 days. On behalf of my colleagues, Alex Hutchinson, who is an economic development specialist with us, and Christian Mader, who is a communications specialist, I certainly want to thank you for the great show of hospitality, and a special thank you to Becky and Jeff and Kim and Leah for the tour they organized and for spending much of the day with us so that we could see and understand on the ground what we have already researched about your community that's been shared with us over now close to a year that we've been working with this community on the effort that brings us here tonight. I'm John Robert Smith. I'm the Senior Policy Advisor to Smart Growth America. I'm also Chairman of Transportation for America, and I manage the work that brings us here to Pittsburgh tonight and tomorrow, but has also taken us to over 80 cities, very large and very small, in almost every state in the Union. The good thing to see is that cities are adapting to the changes that we face in this country, both demographically and economically, especially as economic development changes for our communities. Our work is basically helping cities with the choices of how they grow, how they envision their future, and help them best determine the return on investment for the limited resources they have to invest in their community moving forward. We're here under 2 programs which I want to make sure the citizens know do not cost the city of Pittsburgh a dime. This work is endowed first by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. We offer a competitive grant program once a year, and we just finished round 6 of competition. You actually competed in round 5 of the competition. We offer 9 different tools of technical assistance that we can bring to a community. We're here to discuss economic and fiscal health of Pittsburgh, both now but especially how you position yourselves in the future. You competed. There were 68 cities from all across the country, from some of the very largest like Seattle down to some of the very smallest. We could only work in 7 places. You were one of those 7 cities out of 68 in the country. that could receive this workshop. And you were chosen because, number one, whoever wrote the application did a beautiful job with telling your story, telling your need, and telling your commitment. But we went one step further. We limited the first 68 down to the top 21, and then I made personal calls to all 21 of those communities, because it's important to know that the leadership of the community, the elected leadership, the appointed leadership of this community, support these efforts, because ultimately you have to raise your hands and vote and take stands on the issues and face the public moving forward, because it's your hometown. So we wanted to hear that commitment, and we certainly did hear that from the leadership here in Pittsburgh, and you should be commended for that. The second part of the work we do is funded by the USDA Rural Development, and they fund work where we do what is called a fiscal impact analysis. This isn't, we don't use statewide data or regional data, we use your data. And it's basically the roadways and everything that passes over them or under them that the city does. So think of the cost of extension of a mile of street, of water and sewer, of storm drainage, of operating your school bus system to take children from home to school, possibly your fire service. Anything that's a function of distance that you do, that's what we look at. Because what's really important to you, especially you electeds to know, is that I served in local government for 20 years. I was the mayor of my hometown of Meridian, Mississippi for 16 years. It's a strong mayor form of government there. So this is not theory for me. This is something I have lived for 20 years. So I've sat in the position that you sit in as a council member, we call them in Meridian, or as the mayor, and have faced these issues, made these decisions, and then explained to the citizens of Meridian the return that we expected on the investment that we made. I want you to know that what we have seen in your city is very heartening to us. We see a downtown with great potential. A lot still vibrant in the downtown, and so much more can come and be added, and you have taken great steps to see that that happens in your downtown. We've certainly toured the college. We know the relationship of the city to the college and the many wonderful assets there, not least of which is that bright, imaginative student body that you want to be even more engaged in the future of Pittsburgh. And then we also saw your brownfield site. Now, what we saw there was tremendous opportunity for that site. And actually, my hometown of Meridian has a Dickey Clay site within it as well. So I know those struggles, but also those opportunities. And we think that, that you really have an asset there that you can work with. So I want to encourage you. We will be here, as I said, for 2 days. Tonight we will do a public presentation at 7 o'clock. We'll give a higher level overview of what we'll do in depth tomorrow. And then tomorrow we'll have a workshop from 9 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. And we will present more information, but then you really go to work. And you have a working group that's been assembled for tomorrow. And that working group will really roll up their sleeves, because this will be Pittsburgh's vision and next set of steps to move you forward. This will not be something we bring in. We just want to tease your imagination, show you what others are doing, show you the impact from some of those decisions around the country, and then you will develop the next steps that will take you to implementation. Because having sat where you do, when I walked into the mayor's office, I inherited a bookshelf full of plans that have been adopted and never implemented. That's not what we're about. We're about giving you a set of steps that you will create that give you a step-by-step procedure to move forward as you address the issues that face you and address the opportunities that come your way. So again, thank you. for this opportunity. Certainly answer any few questions you have here this evening. We'll answer a lot more tonight at 7 when we do the public presentation.
Just
Great.
for those who might be listening, where will the public presentation be?
The presentation is going to be in the Memorial building and the municipal auditorium in the bottom there.
Okay.
It's all set up, and we have a lot of images to share with you from across the country and demographic shifts to share with you because the world's changing. And it's being driven by generational changes, and I said, as I said, changes in how we move towards economic development and how even that definition has changed over the past 10 years.
Thanks for visiting.
Yes.
I think we've got a really good staff. I appreciate you coming in and helping us find our way quickly. We don't have a lot of time usually to do things wrong twice and then get it right the third time. So I know it was competitive. I think we talked to you on the phone and
Yes.
very much appreciative of coming down here and selecting us and get to meet you in person. And you've got a busy 2 days, so good luck. It looks like the weather's going to be nice, and hopefully you get a lot of people there tonight to start it off.
Well, I hope so, and I do remember you were on the call, and I believe your assistant city manager was also on the call. And one of you, as mayor, Mr. Munsell, I think perhaps you were mayor at that time, was also on that call, as well as the dedicated staff you have. But the staff has to have the support of their leadership, and you certainly demonstrated that, and I thank you for that.
I just have one more question. How will this be, I know you'll be putting something together for us to look at and understand. How will this be presented back to us? Will that be done?
Well, let me tell you on our end
Okay.
how we do this. We'll do our workshop tomorrow, and we will deliver a next steps memo to the government.
Okay.
Then that will be presented to you.
Okay.
And you will accept those next steps because we want them to be steps you can actually move forward on. And we'll develop those, certainly from our point of view, from what we've learned having visited Pittsburgh and from what we see around the country, but we'll work with your staff to make sure these are reasonable steps for Pittsburgh. Then once those that are adopted, you'll owe us a memo in 1 month, a report, as to how you're moving to accomplish the next steps. Because like I said, we don't want to see that set of steps sit on a desk somewhere. And you might say, well, 1 month doesn't give us much time. Well, that's the idea. We want you thinking about it immediately after we leave, not 3 months from now. And then the next report will be due 6 months out, and then the last report 12 months out. And those reports will be shared on our website, EPA's website, and it's so we can call attention to the good things you're doing here in Pittsburgh that others across the country would never hear about. And, being from a city very similar to Pittsburgh, Meridian, Mississippi is, we have to do things special in order to pop up on the radar screen of all those other cities across the country. And I think this next steps memo and your reporting will give you that. So your staff will bring that to you. You will then act on it, certainly have your input, and then it will become official. Now, we will have a webinar with you to discuss the results of your fiscal impact analysis. And let me tell you, we've worked with few cities that have been as committed as the staff of Pittsburgh in rendering to us the data that we need to perform the analysis. So I want to thank you for that, and you will spend more staff time on this data as well moving forward. But it's going to give you, you need to know what it's going to cost you for the kind of developments you're looking to. And you need to reassure the public that your return on investment is better because of the choices you make. I was a Republican mayor all those years, and I felt it was important that you tell your people what to expect on a return for their money. I look at you as a board of directors for a company, and that company is Pittsburg, Kansas. And your shareholders, those citizens out there, need to know what they get in return for their money that you invest in the future. And this information will give you that, and when we have our analysis, we'll pull together a webinar working with you and your staff, and that webinar can be as open as you choose to make it, and is widely disseminated, and we will share the results. I'll give you just, while we're here, and talk more about it tonight, but we did this for Rifle, Colorado, and we showed them that depending on how the choices they made and how they would grow, that if they made choices, and we had explained what those may be, what we were recommending saved them $120 million over 20 years. That's $6 million a year to a small budget like Rifle, Colorado's. You might not make those choices, but you at least ought to know what's possible there.
Excellent.
I appreciate you walking through that timeline. That helps those who might be listening to understand how long this process will be and how much thought and time there will be put into the process.
And you know, we're doing a public presentation tonight because we think it's important that the public know why we're here. And I know, coming from Meridian's 43,000 people, and I know if there are 3 strangers in town before 6 o'clock, everyone knows that they're in town, and what are they doing here? So the public presentation is so we can answer those questions and let you know what the goals are and what work is involved. So we want this to be a very open, transparent process, and we want to arm you with the information you'll need that you can really craft that future you want to for Pittsburgh, because we think you have all the right things to really pop in the economic development arena. And you can choose to either take control of the changes that are occurring in this country, or you can be buffeted about by them. You will not pass unscathed by it. So either take it in your own hands and determine that future, or I think pay a consequence you don't want to pay.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to town.
Okay, are there any non-agenda reports or requests?
I just want to mention, we went to the league meeting this weekend in Overland Park. Thanks for attending. Want to shout out to Jay, Sean Nacarado, and Blake Benson. They gave an hour presentation on the last day, on the last morning, which is a really lousy time to present. But they managed to get 70 or 75 people there and talked about partnerships and growth and how the last 3 years have gone in Pittsburgh. And I think they did a good job, and appreciate all the effort and the time that you all spent down there. So thanks.
Agree, I think they've done an excellent job. It was a very good presentation, guys. If there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.